Hey Kai,
Hi.
can you explain blockchain to me?
Well, of course I can. It's kind of, I think, imagine it as a. Oh, I think I can't.
Oh, I see.
Hi, my name is Mike.
Hi, my name is Kai.
Together, we are the Bold Guys.
Thank you, Mike, for helping me out with this problem.
No problem.
Caroline came in and she asked me for blockchain, and I don't have any clue about that, and I need your help.
No problem at all, Kai. Do you know, I've been researching this and I've been getting really excited about it. It's such interesting technology. Well, it has this distributed ledger thing, this distributed ledger technology, where it can allow you to build trusted transactions through a series of secure and undeletable blocks.
Mike.
It's really interesting. And hashing algorithms.
Mike, sorry, Mike.
Oh, sorry, Kai?
She's my manager. She won't understand that. It's too technical. You have to use simple words. Can't you do that in a different way?
Okay. So you want me to be manager friendly?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's okay.
I will totally restart. Let's start again.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure you've become aware of lots of the news and perhaps hype around blockchain. Perhaps you've heard of Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency, which is one of the many uses of blockchain. And I expect you've heard that there are many initiatives trying to take advantage of the possibilities afforded by blockchain. But what is it? What can it do? Why is it considered to be such an exciting innovation? So I'm going to try to give you a pretty tech-free description of what it can do for us. Towards the end, there'll be a few small technical details, but pretty easy to understand. They're not too complicated, but so let's dive in. A little bit of technology, but not too much. We'll focus more on the business value. Now, imagine all those ways in our modern world that we carry out really important activities, important transactions with people that we don't know. So we agree contracts to buy a house. We're buying and selling goods within complex global supply chains. We're carrying out investment decisions. We're supporting charitable causes in our home countries and around the world. How do we know that we can trust the people and the systems that underlie these and other transactions? Well, honestly, we can't. Many of the people will be trustworthy, but we cannot tell who is and who isn't. Okay, if this is something very small, like if I go to buy a bar of chocolate and I generally, if it goes wrong, it's not too much of a disaster. But get any bigger and it can become a bit difficult. For example, 3 years ago, someone managed to hack my MasterCard and they ordered £75 worth of hair care products. Now, I don't know them. I don't know anything about them. I've never seen them. I can only guess that, well, they have hair. But clearly that wasn't me. Two bold guys, we're not buying lots of hair care products. So we need mechanisms to ensure that transactions are safe and reliable and that the parties can't commit fraud on each other. You don't want to transfer $200 and find out that somewhere else that's been turned into $400 without your knowledge. You don't want to sign a contract and find that the contract has been edited and changed afterwards. So to secure transactions of any kind between different parties who have no reason to trust each other, we have a lot of technical, legal, regulatory and organizational safeguards. We have computer systems, we have international agreements on movements of capital and goods. We have national regulatory frameworks and fraud detection systems, all very expensive and complex, but together they build the most important aspect of all of this: trust. Trust lies at the heart of this, and if we don't trust the system, and if that system doesn't honor our trust, it all falls apart. However, to keep the trust, all those different complicated elements need to work together seamlessly. Now, imagine a technology that does all that, or everything that's been described, but in such a secure and yet transparent way that it doesn't need to have all the regulatory infrastructure around it. Imagine not having to have these different kinds of transactions mediated by some central authority, but it can be done peer-to-peer. Well, basically that's blockchain. Underneath it is trust. It's a technology which sorts that trust. So it supports and enables all kinds of trusted transactions between different parties who have otherwise no reason to trust each other. There are different flavors of blockchain, and there are different blockchain standards, and all have their own strengths and some weaknesses, but fundamentally it's about building trust through the blocks and through the chains. So hopefully, while Kai is listening and maybe he's gone having a coffee, I'll give you a very, very simple explanation about how it works a bit later. But firstly, I'll try to inspire you with just a few examples of where it can be used. And hopefully, if I'm doing this right, you'll notice that behind every example, there is the same concept I've described before. That is, secure transactions between parties who have no reason, in particular, to trust each other. So let's start with the most famous example. I'd be very surprised if any of you watching this is not aware of this, but I'm sure you're all aware of Bitcoin as an implementation of blockchain. Of course, a currency that can be easily copied and forged is not going to be much use. Central banks go to great lengths to ensure that their currency is secure and therefore it keeps its value. And Bitcoin represents a transaction of value, that's money, which is included permanently in the blockchain and can be checked. Bitcoin wallets, which are included in the blockchain, contain a private key which is used to sign transactions so that the owner has ultimate secure control. But I'm sure you know about this example. I'm sure many of you have read about it, seen news items about it. But of course, there are many other things of value that we need to transact and need to be transacted in a very secure way. For example, most of what we own of any size is stored in some kind of ownership record. If we have a car or a property, or if we have investment shares or wills and many, many other items, all of these things can be stored in digital format on a blockchain in a way that can't be tampered with and can be publicly checked. Another perhaps more involved example I was reading, which is very interesting. Imagine you're a landlord who's always having problems getting a tenant to pay. Or you could be a tenant who's always having problems getting a landlord to fix problems in the apartment. Trying to go through the courts to get the previous month's rent can be an expensive nightmare. But setting up a smart contract on a blockchain can ensure that payment is triggered at the same time every month. Another example. Wouldn't it be great to vote from home, while at the same time having the confidence that your vote wasn't being tampered with? So blockchain can provide the security and to ensure that you have the correct digital identity. It can ensure that the vote can't be manipulated, at least from the technology side. Again, another example I came across with a very interesting company in Amsterdam is working on a blockchain that connects farmers in developing countries directly with customers and consumers in the West to encourage more ethical purchasing decisions and better relationships between both ends of the supply chain. This isn't complete, this is a work in progress, but they're trying to create a more ethical environment for modern purchases. Another example, identity theft is a huge problem. Just in the USA, some estimates have put in that 2017, identity theft cost $17 billion. So blockchain provides the technology to create much stronger and more secure digital identities. So here we're just scratching the surface of what blockchain can do. The limits are the limits of our imagination. We haven't even started looking at the potential for blockchain technology when combined with other technologies such as Internet of Things and machine learning and a lot of the other cool digital capabilities that are talked about these days. But let's just summarize around blockchain. Blockchain allows you to have trusted transactions of many different kinds in a secure way, which does not have to be mediated by a central authority, governments, banks. The range of possibilities is only limited by our imaginations, and the key concept lying at the center of this is how this technology builds trust. So is this really happening? Are people actually using this stuff? Well, we know about Bitcoin, but there's a huge growth in this area. So this isn't a kind of theoretical idea. The use of blockchain is growing massively. The IT research company Gartner has estimated the blockchain market will grow to 33.1 trillion by 2030. And that's seen as a force for potential good in modern society. And the World Economic Forum wrote a report, Deep Shift, Technology Tipping Points and Societal Impact. And in that report, they see blockchain as one of the driving forces of what they call the mega trend around the sharing economy and distributed trust. I'm sure slowly you're getting this idea with trust and a lack of mediation that hopefully you're gradually picking up what blockchain's about. We haven't talked too much about the technology at all, but the value is around building this trust. So anyway, hopefully while Kai isn't listening, I'll talk a little bit, just high level, about one or two of the technical characteristics that give the business value of blockchain. So what technical characteristics does blockchain have, and how do they drive that business value? So blockchain uses a set of existing technologies, not a new technology, but existing technologies in a clever new combination to provide the value that I'll describe. So firstly, it uses what's known as a decentralized peer-to-peer technology. Decentralized means it's distributed, it's not mediated by a central server, a central organization. In simple terms, that means it doesn't need any central controlling server, but every computer on the network can act as a server for the others and provide shared access to the data. In the past, you would have needed a central mediating authority with centralized technology. No longer. Secondly, it uses this thing called private public key cryptography with hashing algorithms. Now, don't worry about what this means in technical terms. There's lots of interesting YouTube videos and explanations about what this is, but we won't explain it here. Suffice it to say that these provide the security elements. It's very important in any environment where you're trying to build trust between parties who don't need to trust each other, that there is the security to sustain that trust so it doesn't go wrong. Thirdly, it uses what's called a consensus algorithm. So what's this? This ensures that each of these distributed elements, these distributed nodes on the blockchain, agree on the data to be written into each of the blocks. It's crucial that there's a reliable agreement on the data to be written into the block. So for example, the version of the smart contract you signed is the same on all nodes. By consensus, it checks that this is all true. And again, this adds some extra security and robustness to the blockchain. So in short, the data is shared throughout the blockchain. That means it's distributed. So it's transparent, so anyone can check it. And it's immutable. So that means after being written to a block, you can't change it. You can only add a new block. So you've got a very, very super high level view of the technologies. But I want to come back to the business value of blockchain. I don't want to end on the techie stuff. So we've already said it's all about building trust. Let's go back to one or two of the examples. For example, you can use it to work with suppliers to ensure compliance. You can carry out financial transactions. We talked about that. You can use it for decentralized voting. You can use it for, we talk about connected cars these days. It can be used in that context. So in summary, the blockchain, you'll have heard this before. I've said it several times, and hopefully this stays in your head. It builds trust. Secondly, it provides a simplification of collaboration scenarios where different parties have to collaborate. The records can't be changed, therefore it increases transparency, auditability and regulatory compliance. That's increasingly important in the modern age. Fourthly, you get real-time asset transfer of digital assets around the different nodes. Sixthly, the system can enforce intercompany business rules. So you don't get the rules getting broken so easily. And secondly, you can reduce risk without having to use intermediaries in the process. I hope this has given you a very good high-level understanding of what blockchain is and where the value comes from and how it underpins trust in transactions between different parties that don't need to trust each other. And hopefully you can start thinking about how this can apply in your own area. If you want to learn more about how SAP does this, how we simplify the implementation of blockchain through our blockchain as a service offering, go on to sap.com/blockchain. There are many resources which explain use cases, how you can try out blockchain as a service yourself, what kind of opportunities there are to use blockchain, and how you can contact SAP to work with us on this if this is of interest for you. But thank you for listening. Bye for now.
Hi, Carolyn. This is Kai. I think I can explain blockchain now.